Well, we're back in the desert, Calderis Desert, and I've got a little bit of Nurgle infection. Maybe you can hear it in the voice. I'm not really sure, to be honest. But certainly if you can't hear it in the voice... Oh, we got the boxy war boss. Whoa. Love this guy. Looking like a fridge raider for sure. But yeah, if you don't hear it in the voice, you'll probably be hearing it in the sniffles and such. But what can we do? We're going to have a little bit of Force Commander versus War Boss. Master Rostam is at it again. Don't think I've seen him play any orcs in his little return here. You could be wrong. But I like to showcase the orcs these days. I feel like they've got a pretty bad reputation and just not really been seen enough for as ubiquitous as they are in the lore. They're not so common on my YouTube channel. Bit awkward there, the shooter boys getting forced off by the tax, because now there's only one shooter to try and deal with the FC. I'll probably gangbang him here with all these units though, but he's probably going to be able to claim a few shooter boys. Good use of the battle cry there to give him knockback immunity just as the war boss stomp was coming in, so he basically negated the knockback there. And yeah, he did his thing. Unfortunately, couldn't bleed any models, so that's pretty good for Rostam. Now Rostam's going to be going for some big shooters here, straight away. Needs to get some gens though, I'd imagine.
We're losing a power node.
One gen. Don't know why he's not going for two. I don't see any other upgrades, should probably be going for two.
Equip the initiates with combat shotguns.
Probably looters next then. Against the FC, could be helpful. Or it might just be the classic Storm Boys. Bit of strange timing there from Rutank with the shotguns coming out there on his unit when they're already in retreat, not really ideal. These scouts here currently uncontested, a little bit problematic for Rostam. Should get a unit over there because they're getting a lot of capping power done right now for free basically, for such a cheap squad. Definitely want to contest that with your shooter boys. Now Rostam's going for the double big shooters here. This is kind of traditional orc things that they do in all the matchups, but it's not good against Space Marines. For the amount of resources that you're pumping into these boys, it doesn't make them that much better against tax. They get a nice little engage here, but you see how the heavy infantry armor of the tax just negates so much of it. And look at this. They're too busy focusing on the tax there, the shooters, and now the scouts can get into cover and get their shotgun blast off without losing a model, and then the Force Commander can get in and start chopping them up, and that's a lot of bleed for Rostam. And now obviously Slugger Boys got to retreat because they're isolated against free squads. Not a great situation for them. Now we do see Rostam noding this. I don't really think that's worth it. I would have actually just sent the scouts here and bashed the node with the scouts and the tax whilst the FC captures. Wow, Rutank is making some major mistakes. I just realised now, holy shit, he's got 600 requisition. He needs to be building multiple power farms at this rate. It's a shame there's not like a semi-natural power farm on this map. There's only really one natural, because he's got way too much rec. Well, there you go. He lost attack. He can spend some of that rec on that. Yeah, he's got the ASM on the way as well. So I guess, yeah, when he gets the ASM, he drops a couple of gens here. He's used his rec. I don't know how he was floating so much wreck though, he definitely should have had some gens up sooner. Now this is a good situation for the shooter boys. Yeah, generating a lot of value there. No model kills, but that's fine. And the power node worked. It kept the point. But nothing has contested these scouts the entire time, that's the problem. And indeed it is going to be Storm Boys for the orcs. I mean, they trade very well against the ASM since Storm Boys are power melee. I think they beat the ASM 1v1, certainly if they just sort of walk into one another and the ASM don't get the jump on them. And that's really nice because ASM are a lot more expensive. But ASM are more tanky, Storm Boys do way more damage, so the whole point of the ASM is you're meant to chain your knockback with their jump knockback and then with the shotguns and then with the specials. But an isolated shooter boy squad is going to be picked off pretty quickly here. We've got bolt pistols coming in from the FC, the ASM jump, and the shotguns. Basically all the SM army there focusing on that isolated squad. FC can deal with whatever he wants. Probably should be using the battle cry. That was a really bad shotgun blast. He really needs to be shotgun blasting the storm boys, not the war boss right now. Wow, and an aggressive jump. I would have just jumped the hell out of there. Ooh, but it was really lucky. He got a nice special on the Force Commander right when he needed it there to disrupt the Storm Boys and prevent them being able to get a model off the ASM, and one of these shooters goes down there. Massive overextension from Rostam, and he's not fighting with his full force. He doesn't have his sluggers here, who are of course far more relevant to the combat than this naked scout squad would be. But you see, basically one of those shooters didn't do anything in that engagement because he was forced off right at the start. So he picks up a knob on this squad of shooters, make them a bit tougher. Maybe make it a bit harder for him to lose that squad. Nice that he caught those scouts running around out of combat there. Aiming what's that to suppress the attacks, and then Stormbows come in, that's going to force them to retreat. Oh, FC has to be careful. Nice Yuji choppers, that might be enough. It is. Very good timing on the Yuji choppers there. A nice reaction time from Rostam. He's seen the opportunity straight away, realising that was a mistake. This Force Commander does not want to fight the Stormboys when he's that low on HP. And certainly with Rutank then running the FC straight through into the shooters, not a good idea. Wow, they even killed an ASM model there. Stormboys putting in some huge value straight away.
Adding power generator. The enemy is claiming.
Always like to see the Stormboys putting in value. I feel like they're a very underrated unit. Overutilized and underrated, which is a very rare combo for a unit in Dawn of War 2. So we've got a couple of armor pieces here on the war boss that I'm a little bit surprised about, to be honest. Hard boys now on these sluggers. I like that play as well. There's a lot of chain knockback though, so I don't know how this engagement's going to go. I'd have probably sent the Storm Boys onto the tacks. And certainly the sluggers should not be fighting the FC in melee, that's a mistake. Have we seen the Warboss stomp? No, we haven't. It's coming out right now. That was a good stomp. A lot of disruption, but maybe the Warboss should be tying up the scouts. Maybe not. Holy shit. That is a lot of damage coming out into the ASM. He's not going to be able to get the final hit though. Charge you can see there from the Warboss. It's a really nice ability because it creates this yellow cover craters. So he's taking less range damage while he's in them, and it gives him more regen, and it gives him 30% extra damage for about 2 or 3 hits afterwards. That's how he snagged that scout model. And then he's got his tanky melee hero armor as well with the spiky armor, max HP and the regen. It does that. Nice little splash as well if you try and melee him, but against Space Marines that's not too big of a deal. That splash is obviously exponentially better the more models are going to be trying to melee him, so at most you've only got 3 or 4 from the ASM or the FC in that fight. So you don't get it for the splash against SM, you get it for the durability. Though the big stomp could have been useful there actually. I mean, you've seen that initial stomp he got off. If that was a big stomp, maybe he would have won that engagement. Having the stun effect in addition to the knockback. We're struggling with the cast here, folks. I think this will be the only cast today. Unfortunate. I normally like to binge cast them, but I don't know, I'm just struggling with the breathing. It's probably COVID, isn't it? Probably going to die in 2 weeks. Are we done with COVID now? Do you guys ever check whether you got COVID or not? Do you care?
We shall make it so.
I feel like nobody does anymore. Maybe if you live in a country and there's some sort of, you know, you're in some sort of professional job where there's a government requirement, you're some sort of civil servant, Maybe they've got a requirement that you check whether you're COVID or not. Maybe like a hospital worker, but if you're not doing that, I feel like no one cares anymore. And even then, no one really cares, you just kind of force into doing it. Slugger Boys picked up their knob, using Swampum here to give them a lot of damage resistance to range, but a very isolated squad. No jump to provide more knockback though, and this is actually looking a little bit precarious. Wow, beautiful special attack there from the knob on the sluggers, and a pretty decent stomp too. Now the slugger knob is absolutely hacking his way through this ASM squad. They go back in! No, Rutank! Oh no, that was a massive micro error. Wow indeed, buddy. Why the hell did you send them back in? If there was one thing to micro in that engagement, it was the ASM not running back into that brute of a slugger. I retreated the wrong thing. Oh dear. What did he retreat? The scout squad? Yeah, he retreated the full HP scout squad, I guess. He's got a dreadnought though. We've already got the busters up for Rostam. There's a pretty good loadout here on the war boss to grab a power claw and go toe to toe with a dreadnought. Now he obviously won't beat a melee dreadnought one-on-one, but he would beat a ranged dreadnought one-on-one. But the melee dreadnought itself is vulnerable to the tank busters, which can do a pretty good job kiting him normally when they don't walk literally into the melee range of him, like they are right now. So that was a bit of a micro mistake on Rostam's behalf there. I was going to say, are you going to retreat these shooters? Probably not need them in there. Might see an attempted spike grenade. Yeah. Oh, this could kill the Stormboy knob. Yep. That's rough. So a lot of bleed there from the Stormboys. We seem to have lost a Shooter Boy squad somewhere as well. Where did that happen? Wait, where did the Shooter Boys die? Oh god, was that right on my screen? Or was it over here somewhere? There's obviously been a lot of skirmishing on this side of the map. Not that much, I mean, Rutank kind of just running around with the solo shotgun scout over there. Oh! Man, I'm completely losing it. I was about to be shocked that he lost the ASM, but I do actually remember him losing that. Which is going to be problematic for him dealing with the tank busters, that's for sure. That was a lot of chip damage on the Dreadnought. Really should probably rotate this scout squad. Though, yeah, he's going to be able to do that very soon when he catches this VP. He already on the wreck and stuff, so should be good. Because he's going to need the double repairs to this Dreadnought. It's going to take forever trying to heal that thing up to full with only one repair. Here comes the charge from the war boss. No power claw on him yet. Rostam's going tier 3 instead. I wonder what his choice is. Probably a tank. Yeah, that'd make a lot of sense. Now he's killed the ASM, so there's none of that jump into Melter Bomb combo to snare the tank. It'll be a lot harder to kill the tank. And of course that gives you an easy option to kill the Dreadnought, because you can shoot the Dreadnought to death. The Dreadnought's too slow, can't catch the tank. So Elite Tank would be a pretty great choice right now. I guess the worry for Rostam is that he's tremendously far behind in terms of the VPs here. He's down about a good 200 VPs. So whatever he's planning to get, he needs to get it quick, and he really doesn't want to be bleeding unnecessarily. This seems like a bad fight. I don't know if Emperor's Fist is available on the Dreadnought, but I did notice that the Force Commander has tied up the Tank Busters, and wow, the Tank Busters might wipe here. Down to one model. Okay, Force Commander's not quite in the correct position to take out the final model. But a good fight though for Rutank. He's floating a lot of requisition. Should probably start using the drop pod to get down some more Marines, maybe get some Stern Guard. Shit, you could even get P-Devs in the mid. There are Stormboys, which is a bit annoying. Especially because they get higher jump range in tier 2 than anyone else with their Bomber Boy upgrade, but decent grenade there. No models lost in the scouts, another 3 Slugger Boys killed. You know, he's just keeping that requisition down, and Rostam making him unable to be able to purchase that looted tank. But you will notice that he is really struggling to keep this Dreadnought repaired. This is kind of the advantage of playing as the Tech Marine. You've got that blessings of the Omnissiah Global to spam, in addition to the Tech Marine himself being able to repair as well. Is it level 2 yet? Nearly. So he's going for the Assault Cannon because he doesn't want to commit it to these melee fights anymore. But that's really risky. I mean, the Warboss himself, who is now getting the Power Claw, can 1v1 an Assault Cannon Dreadnought with this loadout. Certainly if he drops some globals on him too. So this is a bit scary, because he loses the melee resist when he gets the Assault Cannon, but for some reason the Warboss turns around to hammer to stop the Power Fist Force Commander, which seems a bit weird. I mean, it was kind of a dodgy engagement, he needed to have more units together anyway. What are the Stormboys doing? No, they're down the right hand side, they're coming over now, but they're a little bit late to the party. And wow, he's going to just lose one of these Shooter Boys there, is Rostam. Taken out by some Bolter Fire, and the Assault Cannon really hasn't dealt with this Assault Cannon Dreadnought very well. And now the Stormboys arrive when all the rest of their lads are gone. This is not a good idea. Now he's setting himself up for a potential death by an Assault Cannon barrage in retreat. He does grab the isolated scout that was repairing the Dreadnought, which is a big take actually, because that thing could have been used for the repairs off the capping, but... Okay, well he got away with it. I don't think he should have. If Rutank played that correctly, it would have gone a lot better. Oh wow, he overextended his FC into the base as well. So Rutank kind of throw him right now, but Rutank went tier 3 too, so he could actually get Assault Terminators pretty soon, which would be okay against a tank, but really he would need a snare as well, because by default the tank's too quick and the Terminators don't do enough damage to kill it with one teleport attack, so you're going to need a snare. But Rostam still hasn't got that tank. I don't know what's going on there. He must be bleeding like crazy. Okay, he's going for Commandos, which would be very vulnerable to the Terminators, because Commandos just have very powerful shooters, but it's just a piercing damage weapon, even if it's a better one than most. So against these super heavy infantry armor Terminators, it's not really going to do a lot. Now they do get the rocket launcher on the knob, which is presumably why he's getting them, to put a bit more pressure onto the Dreadnought, but... I don't know, man, just get a looted tank. Is he scared of the Power Fist? I guess that is something to be concerned about, but I don't think it's a huge deal. I don't know. Warboss is not attacking the Dreadnought. Okay, now it is. Oh wow, look at that, with the damage boost he has from his claw. He is chunking that thing down. And Rutank cancelled his Assault Cannon barrage there, realising, holy shit, I'm losing my bloody Dreadnought. And Warboss is going to grab it. Come on, Warboss. Bonk. That is a Deadnought. Now he does a stomp, knocks over the Force Commander. Can he get away with that stomp? Holy shit, he might, you know. No, he can't. There's Terminators in retreat path. Rutank went for ranged Terminators. Wow, that's brave against a Warboss. Ranged Terminators are very, very vulnerable to melee. Looks like at some point Rutank lost the Scout Squad in that engagement as well. Yeah, so ranged Terminators, Loyalist ones, they are the only unit in the Space Marine roster which doesn't have melee resist. I mean, they're not, look, they're not going to die instantly to any melee squad. They're still 4,500 super heavy infantry HP, but they will take a lot of damage from Storm Boys, Slugger Boys, and also the Warboss. So I find that quite bold. I was thinking about this. Is he going to go for a Terminator Force Commander? If so, get the Lightning Claws on the Terminator Force Commander, and then he can be used to counter-initiate and protect the Terminators. And it looks like he might do that. So if you get the Lightning Claws on the Terminator Force Commander, it does... It's kind of like the Thunderhammer for the normal Force Commander. It's got a 360-degree special attack that tracks. So but it's way higher damage than the Thunderhammer one. And he's tankier as well, so it's just better. It's like an uber Thunderhammer. So if you're trying to protect your ranged Terminators from any melee, that would be a really good asset to use. And now these guys have picked up an assault cannon, so they're doing like double the damage that they previously would with the Stormbolter. They got extra range. They'll even suppress things if they shoot them for long enough too. So the range DPS coming out of these Terminators is going to be quite scary. But as I've said before, they don't want to be walking into sluggers. Especially sluggers that have hard boys dropped on them. Another scout squad coming out here, so we've not got any shotguns on it though. So there's not really any support here. Looks like the sluggers are going to rotate up to the tanks instead. Now they're going to retreat. They don't want to fight literally the whole army on their own. Fair enough. None of these lightning claws yet. So Rostam's going to go for the Nob squad. I do think a tank would have done a million times better than these commandos. I don't really understand these commandos. But I do understand the Nob squad. Obviously that would do very well against the Terminators. Nob squad are actually heavy infantry. So the assault cannon and the Stormbolters here on the Terminators, which are piercing, they're going to do a little bit less than the Nob squad. And obviously the Nob squad are a big melee squad, so they're good against Terminators. But I am very worried right now about how Rostam's going to be able to deal with lightning claws on this guy, but I don't know if Rutank's going for it. He probably should. He surely will. Okay, he's going for it. Good. Good. This is going to do amazing. Just, he needs to try and keep this guy with one of his ranged assets, whether that's the tax or the Terminators. Because right now, basically, look at these tax, you know, the level 4 tax. Commandos can't fight that. Level 1 commandos, they've got no chance against level 4 tax. So he needs to keep... So he doesn't have to worry about ranged firefights. What he needs to worry about is melee units attacking his ranged assets. And that is why he needs to protect those ranged assets with his Terminator Force Commander. You see the special attacks here from the Force Commander absolutely yeeting things. He's dropped for the Emperor onto the TFC as well to give him extra damage, but he is getting quite low on HP now. That's another special attack, but not the Battlecry one. Boom, another one. Fucking hell. You see, the other beautiful thing with these Lightning Claws is they attack really quick. So the 5% chance that you have to get the special attack, you know, you're proccing it really fast because it's like chop, 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 chop. So there's a very high chance per 10 seconds that you're going to actually proc that. Anyway, Stormboys are back in action. I feel like I've not seen them for a bit. I think they were doing something down the sidelines there. There was a good barrage for the tank busters to stop the cap. Those tanks are going to be healing in base for a bit, but certainly under this crazy ranged firepower, the orcs cannot be capping the VP themselves. You're going to promptly dispatch these tank busters once that assault cannon, sorry, is finished its little reload. Looks like they're just going to go down, take the natural requisition. I suppose there's not really too much else they could do. If they went down the other way, they could put pressure on here, but now this is a fully upgraded scout squad. See how the Terminators fare here against the sluggers. Yeah, they're going to be sluggers weren't full HP. They're only like half HP. I don't know why Rostam's sending them in solo like that. It's like Rostam's super low on resources. I don't know what he spent all that red on. Maybe it was just cumulative add boys and use your choppers. I'm not sure. Maybe he used to call the boys in the base to reinforce the cheaper. I'm also not sure. But I'm getting a little bit concerned for Rostam about the VP situation. If I was Rostam, I'd be looking to get a looted tank out. I know I keep saying it, but it's quite a unique asset. Right now, these Lightning Claws and the TFC mean that he is a power melee threat. Can't really deal with a tank. Terminators did not go for the Cyclone missile launcher. They went for this assault cannon. So they have to rely on their power fist to deal with the tank. Or maybe you can bait them in to teleport in on the tank and then gangbang them with the sluggers, the Stormboys, the Nobs. You'll kill them very quickly if you can get a 3v1 fight where the TFC isn't. Otherwise, the loot tank can go around the sides and support the commandos to beat the tanks or the scouts. Basically, what I'm saying is Rutank doesn't have any AV right now, and Rostam needs mobility in order to contest the VPs. But soon Rutank is going to be able to get another vehicle, another unit himself. And if I was Rutank, I'd be going for a Predator tank. I know there's tank busters and there's commandos, but it doesn't really matter, to be honest. Wow, look at the suppression from the assault cannon. Getting the huge hammers here. Plasma gun on the tax. He's going to do bonus damage to these Nobs. Yeah, and the TFC's here, so these Nobs really need to retreat. If he uses that battle cry, it's going to be a problem. He's not using it, and they still force off the Nob squad, so that's not very good for Rostam. This guy is an absolute nightmare to deal with melee units, gotta be honest. Whilst the battle cry is active, honestly, Rutank should probably just punch away with the Terminators. Right now he's taking a lot of damage and he's not dealing any damage because he's kiting. He's making a mistake there with the TFC chasing rather than fighting. If he's chasing, he's not proccing specials. Look at the DPS output on this guy, man. He is insane. What's the DPS on these? 95 power melee DPS. Do they do splash too? Yeah, they do. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a really good war gear now. Ever since the special attacks were buffed on it, it's a really nice piece of kit. You never seen it before? Because it's like he already has a power fist. You're not getting that much of a DPS increase by going for this. But you're sacrificing all range potential and pretty much all AV potential. But yeah, now that those specials are so strong, it's definitely worth it. If your main threats are melee like this, it's really quite beautiful. And it makes this combo very good, where you go for the ranged Terminators and you go for the TFC. Teleporting out at last, he's done his business. Look at the damage he's inflicted on these Nobs. And this is the value of the Predator. So long as the Tank Busters and the Commandos are around, it can just kite all the melee and output some pretty good DPS. And to be honest, even with the extra armor, it can start 1v1 in Tank Busters. So it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one for sure. Commandos trying to open up on rear armor. They do get the hit. Good little hit there. Stormboy's now jumping on top of them, trying to block the way. Oh, some of those rockets missed, it seemed. We got one heavy melee headbutt there from the Stormboy, but not really enough. Tank Buster's a bit out of position, really. They should have been here in the first place, and then that might have been a kill on the tank, to be fair. I don't think Rostam ever got Bomber Boys, which is weird, because even if you're not going to use the Bomber Boy ability, honestly, for like 75 rec, you should get it. It increases your jump range by something like 30% or something. It's insane. Such a good buff to Stormboys, just for the jump range increase. This could be one of the key fights now that the VPs are getting so low. So you see the Predator tank falls back behind the safety of the Terminators, who can now DPS down those range threats, but really, you know, it needs to keep moving. It's going to die to one more set of rockets. It's dead. Okay. You can see the output from the sluggers there when they've got their damage buffs from the War. Doing pretty good, but now the contributions from the tanks are coming in. So you can see, you know, cost for cost, obviously Terminators with the assault cannon are, what, maybe triple the price of a slugger squad with burners and Nob? Way more expensive. But they traded very well, but they are level 4 sluggers, and that's what I'm saying, like, they're a good counter in terms of cost effectiveness. Obviously Nobs 1v1 would slaughter Terminators. But so long as you support the Terminators, or you're taking fights like that where it's just sort of 1v1s against weaker squads, then it's not too bad. I mean, he did lose one Terminator, did Rutank, so that's going to be somewhat expensive. See what he's paying on them. 150, 25. Yeah, it's a lot of requisition for sure. A lot of requisition. But to be fair, he can afford it right now. I mean, Rostam got the Predator, so bit of a mistake from Rostam there. I think he definitely should have caught the VP with the Commandos due to their 50% extra cap speed. I know obviously he wants them rotated with the main army for an army versus army fight, and he wants the Busters to do that, but he could have at least started the cap with the Tank Busters. I don't think it's that urgent to get the Commandos over the other side, literally, like, you know, 2 seconds sooner. It's going to be a tier 3 Dreadnought for Rutank, interesting. Maybe an assault cannon one? I don't know, that's kind of risky with Nobs running around. And the Warboss has still got his claw as well, so here is use your choppers on the Nobs going after the attacks, but they've got Unleash or No Fear, and of course they've got the support of this Force Commander that's yeeting the Nobs all over. The good thing for Rostam with the Nobs is that they're not bleeding. They're tanking, but they're not bleeding at all. I don't know why the Warboss that whole time was chasing after the TFC, because that just meant he was getting knocked over with the the chain knockback from the lightning claws. So I don't really understand that. I like the Painboy choice for Rostam in tier 3 here, that's pretty cool. I might get the TFC here. TFC should teleport out, right? It's got teleport? Yeah, really late. Fucking hell, Rutank, you were pushing it there, mate. And the Commandos took the VP, because obviously Commandos can beat Scouts 1v1. But for now, the melee Dreadnought's uncontested. We've only got the Stormboys and the Sluggers in the mid, so finally the Tank Busters can prove themselves useful once again. There's only 3 of them here though. So, you know, only doing 75% of the DPS that they should be doing. And yeah, Terminators can punish them pretty bad. It doesn't matter, the VPs for Rutank runs out, damn. He was moving the Scouts to go take the natural VP because he knew he couldn't contest the Mandos on this side. So I guess, you know, Mandos put in some value. They're definitely nice for the capping game later on. I feel like Rostam could have won this a lot easier if he just went for a looted tank straight away in tier 3. And there were a big timing window when he got to tier 3 where he started bleeding loads of units, even though he was really far ahead of Rutank. And I feel like if he played more conservative, even if it meant sacrificing a few gens, because ultimately, look at the state of his power, he's got an absurd amount. Even if it meant sacrificing a few gens in order to preserve his wreck by not bleeding models, I think he would have got that loot tank out way sooner, and he probably would have won this game a long time ago. Not a bad display though from Rutank. I actually liked this composition in the late game. The TFC with the lightning claws was great, and the ranged Terminators, he protected them beautifully. They did amazing. They killed so many models, it was crazy. I think he would have benefited from having a heavier tier 2 early on. He was floating a lot of requisition a lot of time. I mean, even in tier 1, he was very late on his gens. His economic micromanagement definitely needs some work. Drop pod some tax down in tier 2 and get some stern guard. And I think this composition would have been even better with the Terminators, not just having the plasma tax. If he had some stern guard early on, it would have done very well. But there you go, folks. A little bit of SM versus Orcs. Classic matchup. Hope you did enjoy that stuff. If you want more, support me on the Patreon. You'll get access to a whole bunch of exclusive casts, probably something like 40 by the time that I upload this. Thank you for tuning in. Torpid is signing out.